Back in 2014, if someone told you that Burning Abyss would still be a competitive deck 5 years later, they'd probably just laugh at your face. But here we are. Burning Abyss has evolved over the years to become a more powerful deck than probably it's ever has been before. And in this particular video, I'm going to be showing you guys how powerful Burning Abyss is in the November 2019 format. Of course, I'm TheCaliEffect, and if you guys want to see more saucy deck profiles, live duels, and other content like this, then make sure you destroy that subscribe button, as well as hit that notification bell, because, well, we just too strong. So without further ado, I present to you a competitive Burning Abyss deck profile for this format. Okay guys, so I'm often bombarded with the question of, hey Cali, can you play a Profile X deck? And I'm gonna tell you guys all right now, it's not gonna happen. I mean, it's just so many requests, I can't fulfill them all, and I actually don't even do requests, but there is a silver lining to all this. If you guys want help with your particular deck, you can always join Discord, and I actually have a section in there where a group of guys, just a solid group of people, all talk about, discuss certain decks and strategies and things you can do to improve. It's just a really good group in general, but that's just one thing I do want to point out. But starting off with this Burning Abyss deck, I'm gonna pretty much blaze through all of the cards in there and just explain why I play them as opposed to what they do. I do have a deck list which will be posted down in the description. It is a TCGPLAYER link, meaning that not only will you see the deck list if you guys are wanting to buy those cards, well, that link actually helps me out too. But starting off with the monsters, just Seer and Graph. These are the most important Burning Abyss because Seer summons your pig, and then the pig loop is still very much alive to special summon Dante and Dante to get the pig back. Farfa and Skarm, these are the second place Burning Abyss monsters. You don't necessarily get these guys' effects a lot. Farfa you actually do because it's a disruption. Skarm is just good for searching your tour guide. And then next, Libic, Calcab, Barbar, Alec, and Dragig. Now, I pretty much blaze through the Burning Abyss monsters because their effects, for the most part, unless your Graph or Seer are irrelevant, the biggest contribution to this deck is that you are allowed to special summon these guys for free to your side of the field, and putting 2 level 3 monsters on your side of the field is just amazing because eventually you get to your Cherubini and you start linking off with your huge plays. The honorary monster is Tour Guide from the Underworld, and 2 Fiendish Rhino Warriors. Wouldn't play 3 copies of this card because this card's sole purpose is to send the Graph, which summons the Seer, and then its backup plan is to send the Edge Imp Saber. So like, more than 2 feels like a brick, and that's pretty much it for the Burning Abyss monsters. Now, this is an Earth Burning Abyss deck, and the best card of the deck is Block Dragon. I still don't know why this card isn't $10. Maybe it's because people just need to start scraping players with Block Dragon. This Dragon Ruler searches cards. It's just phenomenal. It's the reason why the deck can power through, because you can summon this card as many times as you want to in a turn, meaning that you'll always have link fodder, and as long as you can send cards from your deck to the graveyard with your Burning Abyss cards, Block Dragon will always be live. It actually helps you set up your graveyard plays too. So 2 copies of Gigantes and 2 copies of the Rock Spirit. I actually wanted to run 3 and 3, but I've never went above 2 and 2 and never really missed it because they're free monsters to your side of the field and they provide the rank 4s. I do run 1 copy of Power Giant, which needs to be ultimate, and 1 copy of Doki Doki, and the reasoning behind this is that Power Giant can turn itself into a 4 by discarding the Doki Doki, and it can turn itself into a 3 by discarding any of my level 3 monsters, and all of those monsters are your, your Block Dragon targets. Lastly is Fossildown Apache Cephalo. You can summon this guy and make him invulnerable, which is just a win. If you resolve summoning him with a Block Dragon, a Mechanite Crusader, Avermax, and a Beatrice, it's just really tough to out that, and your opponent's gonna have a very hard time. But that's it for the Rock Engine. Our starter cards, Mathematician is still one of the best starter cards, but Gallus the Star Beast is not far behind because it's just so amazing. It's a free monster, and saying that, we play all monsters in this deck, and as long as you don't hit Sekka's Light, you're perfectly fine. 2 copies of Psychic Wilder, 2 copies of Gillosaurus, and 2 copies of Psychic Tracker. Now, you guys can run Curious because I play so many Earth monsters with different types. But Curious just doesn't do anything. Like, I Curious to send what? Like, I've really realized that this deck is really good at searching cards, and now with Granted Gallant, you don't need to send Block Dragon off of Curious and then just make awkward boards. You just summon whatever you do and then just keep on popping off. These are just extender 3s. And then this is the card of the hour. The card that people always want to talk about is Orbital Hydrolander, TheCaliEffect. Why do you love Orbital Hydrolander so much? Well, first of all, in this particular deck, it's never dead. The only way for Orbital Hydrolander to not be possibly summoned is if A, they DD Crow all 3 of your Block Dragons. B, you mill 2 Orbital Hydrolanders, which is just, I mean, sometimes that happens, but the odds of that happening. Other than that, your Orbital Hydrolander will resolve every single time. Why? Well, because Block Dragon can banish your extra Earth copies to make sure Orbital Hydrolander resolves. Now, obviously, you can't chain link the Block Dragon, so there will be times you'll mill 2 Earth monsters with the same name, but as long as you're not doing that, I mean, Orbital Hydrolander will get a free destruction. One more thing I do want to point out is that Nibiru is a real card, ladies and gentlemen. In this deck, I mean, it pretty much auto-loses to Nibiru. The bright side is that if they Nibiru you, you'll have 5 monsters in your graveyard. You can follow up with Orbital Hydrolander so you can have some plays. Next is 1 copy of Edge and Sabers and Sea Archiver. These 2 cards are just amazing extenders. Edge and Sabers puts cards in your hand that shouldn't be in your hand back into your deck, and Sea Archiver is just God in here. And then lastly is 3 copies of Sekka's Light for our spell cards, because this is Sekka's Light Burning Abyss. So, that is it for the main board at 42 cards. For the extra deck, 1 Avermax, 1 Saryuja. I actually heartily summon this card, but when you do, I guess you need it. 1 Topologic Trace Bana. This card's amazing for banishing back row. Nightmare Unicorn, Cerberus, and Phoenix. These cards are amazing because this deck is just so good at link climbing and summoning link monsters to your side of the field to break your opponent's board. So if you go second, you can essentially just OTK them. You go first, you summon the Spasodine Pachycephalo. IP Masquerena has effectively placed the Underclock Taker combo. For the people that didn't know about the Underclock Taker combo, what you do is that you summon Fiendish Rhino Warrior and a Burning Abyss. You use them to make Dante, detaching the Rhino Warrior to eventually summon Seer. Then you use those 2 monsters for the link summon of Underclock Taker. You bring back the Dante, add the Seer, and then you make the Beatrice where you have Underclock Taker Beatrice. Now you do the same thing with IP Masquerena, except now you can use the Masquerena's effect after you use Beatrice to link into a link 3 or a link 2 monster and continue to extend on. Also, this card makes the monster that it summons, it can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and that's pretty damn dope. Next is 1 copy of Cherubini, Ebon Angel, the Burning Abyss. You only need 1. And then moving on to the Exceeds, Beatrice, Double Dante, Tornado Dragon. This could be anything. This could be Excited Knight. This could be Douglas. This could be any link 4. I just felt Tornado Dragon was the most generic. Gallant Granite is the new spice for this deck. It's the reason why I feel you don't need Curious and Abyss Dweller, because it's just amazing in so many matchups. Now, there are quite a few cards that you guys could be playing. I feel most of this extra deck is completely mandatory, with the most expensive card being Mekk-Knight, Crusadia, Avermax, and IP Masquerena. If you guys can't afford to ask Masquerena, of course, you'll just play the Underclock Taker, so that's not like terribly bad. But this is a 14 card extra deck, so you guys could run the Curious. I'd actually prefer the Borlsword Dragon, but you don't need it. Topologic Bomber Dragon. If you guys are super swag, you can run the Apollosa. Douglas. The name is Daguerres, but I call him Douglas. And lastly, Notoria Beast, because this deck can make Notoria Beast even right now, but you can also sideboard the Rescue Cat engine to make Notoria Beast against Sky Striker. That's pretty much it for the main board and the extra deck, as well as some cards that you guys could play instead. Let me actually show you guys some test hands so you can get an in-depth grasp on how this deck works. Okay guys, so moving on to the combo tutorial, I'm pretty excited to show you guys how powerful Burning Abyss can be. And basically, excuse me, you're gonna end up pretty much with the exact same combo almost every single time. So we're gonna go into hand number 1, Psychic Tracker, Calcap, Orbital Hydrolander, Alec, and a Galaxy Star Beast. Now, since I have 2 free monsters that I can put to my side of the field without committing the normal summon, we're actually going to do that by special summoning Alec and Calcap to our side of the field, immediately using, excuse me, those 2 monsters for a link summon right into our Cherubini, Ebon Angel, Burning Abyss, activating our Cherubini. We're going to use its effect to be able to send the Fiendish Rhino Warrior from our deck to the graveyard, triggering its effect, which will allow us to send Graph from the deck to the graveyard. Where's that Graph? Oh, it was the top card. And then Graph's effect is going to trigger to be able to special summon a Burning Abyss monster from your deck to where Cherubini points to. From there, we just need to commit another level 3 monster. So I'm going to go ahead and activate Gallus to Star Beast effect. And as long as we don't hit the Sekka's Light, we're in perfect condition. We're going to hit a Block Dragon, which is even better. So we're going to go ahead and hit the Block Dragon, burn our opponent for 1,600 damage. As you guys can see, we already have 5 monsters with different names. So we can follow up by special summoning the Orbital Hydrolander if we so see fit. Using, I mean, normally we don't because they'll Nibiru us, but yeah, they'll normally Nibiru this and then you follow with the Orbital Hydrolander. But let's say, hypothetically, they don't have Nibiru. Following up, we'll use the Gallus and the Seer for a linked or an Exceed summon for Dante. And it's really important in this particular sequence that you don't detach the Seer. So I'm going to go ahead and send Gallus to the graveyard. Right now, we're just fishing for additional Earth monsters to be able to get to our graveyard. We're going to send Psychic Wielder, Rock Spirit, and Mathematician. I mean, more than half of your deck is Earth monsters, so it's like, it's part of the game right now. From there, I'm going to actually just go ahead and banish the Mathematician, the Gallus. You want to banish these 2 cards. Make sure that you banish these 2 cards as early and often as possible because these guys are the monsters, the Earth monsters that you play 3 of. And then I'm also going to go ahead and banish a Psychic Wielder to be able to spell summon Block Dragon to my side of the field. Both the Dante and the Block Dragon can be used for a Link Summon. And here's where things get a little tricky, ladies and gentlemen. You can actually go for a Link 3 into Saryuja Skull Dread, which will trigger the effect of your Block Dragon to add your Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo. And depending on whatever sequences you have, you can special summon your Orbital Hydrolander, special summon your Fossil Dyna, and then, you know, obviously you should have made the Beatrice before all that, and that would be all cool. I'm not exactly going to do that. I'm actually going to take it a little bit of a step further. I'm going to use the Dante and the Seer for a Link Summon into our Nightmare Cerberus. And then I'm going to trigger the effect of Dante is Chainlink 3, Seer is Chainlink 2, and Block Dragon is Chainlink 1, which means Dante will be able to add the Seer back into our hands. Seer will be able to spell summon the Dante to our side of the field. And now Block Dragon will allow us to add a Gigantes. We're just going to go ahead and add Gigantes and Rock Spirit from our decks to our hand. I'm not even done yet because I'm going to be able to summon the Block Dragon one more time, but I'm actually going to have to commit another monster to my side of the field first. I'm going to go ahead and special summon the Rock Spirit and Gigantes by banishing 2 Earth monsters from my graveyard. So, actually, I think those were already banished. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and banish the Rock Spirit and the Fiendish Rhino Warrior. Special summon these 2 bad puppies. And then we're going to use our monster for a Link Summon and to our Gallant Granite. Now, if we're going against a deck like Orchist or you know, maybe a back row heavy deck, maybe even a graveyard reliant deck, that Abyss Dweller can come in handy. We can go ahead and summon that. Or the Tornado Dragon to be able to destroy the opponent's spell and trap cards. But I'm going to go into our Gallant this time around because I actually want to use the Gallant effect to add a card from my deck to my hand. So this particular card, I'm going to add the Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo. And then we can continue on with even more plays. I can use the, my apologies, I can use the Dante by discarding the Seer to make Beatrice. Here we go. And I don't think I have enough raw Earth monsters. I don't have enough Earth monsters in my graveyard this time around. So I can just go ahead and use all of these monsters. This is not overpaying because this can always be treated as a Link 1 monster. So we're going to just commit these 3 monsters to the graveyard for the summon of our Mekk-Knight Crusadia Avramax. And then we are going to banish the Gallant, the Gigantes, and the Nightmare Cerberus to bring Block Dragon back to our side of the field. We're going to finish up by special summoning the Orbital Hydrolander and then normal summoning Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo. In this particular sequence, we did really good. We were able to special summon an Orbital Hydrolander, and the odds of us actually milling a monster that will be of the same, you know, name through Orbital Hydrolander's effect is minimal because it would have to be milled off of the Orbital Hydrolander itself. So we're going to get a free destruction. We're going to have Beatrice the Eternal Lady, which can detach the Dante to send the Farfa to the graveyard for additional disruption, as well as Dante to allow us to add the Seer back from our decks to our hand. But we're not even talking about the main feature. The main feature is that Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo cannot be attacked because we have Mekk-Knight Crusadia Avramax on our side of the field, and Block Dragon prevents our Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo from being destroyed destroyed by card effects, essentially saying that, hey, opponent, you can't special summon, you're locked out of the game. Burning Abyss is really, really good. Okay guys, so on to test hand number 2. I'm pretty excited to show you guys just how powerful this deck can be. You guys have already seen how powerful it is, and right now, as you guys can see, I can still go full combo. All I have to do is commit my normal summon to one of these guys, and pretty much, actually, I don't even have to commit my normal summon if Gallus hits, which it does, and I'll be able to go full combo summoning these 2 monsters and going from there. So the deck is pretty consistent at that. But one thing I want to show you is that this deck's intricacies outside of full Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo, the fact that I drew it in that hand just makes things even worse. So what would I do if Fossil Dyna becomes obsolete? Well, we previously discussed how this deck can make Notoria Beast, and still very much in the main deck, you can make Notoria Beast. The only thing I would need is still have my normal summon available and Doki Doki in my hand. Now, this card is easily searchable through the effect of Block Dragon, which allows you to tutor Notoria Beast to your side of the field. So we're going to go ahead and special summon Gallus, because unless I hit the Sekka's Light, which I don't, we're going to be perfectly fine. And then special summon the Gillosaurus using both of these monsters for a link summon right into my Cherubini Ebon Angel of the Burning Abyss. Ebon Angel being able to send the Fiendish Rhino Warrior to the graveyard, which will, of course, allow me to send Graph, which Graph's effect will allow me to special summon, the Seer to our side of the field. And here's where we run into a little bit of an epidemic, because we do need to commit our normal summon resource with Edgem Sabers using both of these monsters for Dante. And now Dante is going to mill 3 cards from the top of the deck: Block Dragon, Sekka's Light, and Mathematician, which makes things like just more than okay. I'm going to try to make this combo work with without the use of my normal summon. And to make matters even worse, I am not going to boot summon Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo in this particular turn. Let's just say it's against a deck that Fossil Dyna just isn't great against. So I'm going to go ahead and banish these 3 cards, because I know I play multiples of them, to special summon Block Dragon back to my side of the field. And if I had the level 3 tuner, I would be okay. I could just full on commit to a Saryuja Skull Dread, which I think I'm going to do. I'm going to special summon the Gigantes by banishing, and then use all of these monsters for a link into Saryuja Skull Dread. Yeah, we're going to commit to the Saryuja. Saryuja's effect, all I have to do is draw the tuner and I get into the Notoria Beast. Dante effect and Seer effect, so add, summon. And Block Dragon effect. I used Block Dragon. I did. So I'm going to go ahead and add with Block Dragon first. We're going to add you 2 bad puppies. And now we can draw 4 cards and put 3 to the bottom of our deck. That's pretty cool. So now we'll draw 2, 3, and 4. All right. Looks like we have kind of what we need, as I'm going to put the Block Dragon, you, and you to the bottom of the deck. And just realizing I don't have a level 3 monster to special summon that Psychic Wielder. And I do have a level 3 monster to special summon that Psychic Wielder. It's gonna take, man, I don't want to give up my rank 4 play. Look, I might just have to give up my rank 4 play to be able to do what you guys have requested. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back into my deck. 2 special, oh, it goes to the top, my apologies. We're going to special summon that Edgem Sabers to our side of the field. And then next, we are going to special summon the Psychic Wielder. So you just Skull Dread to special summon the Doki Doki. And finally, we'll use these 2 monsters for a link. We will special summon the Notoria Beast to our side of the field, which Saryuja Skull Dread will give it a boost. Next, I'll banish the Psychic Wielder for Gigantes. I don't think I'm completely done just yet. These 2 monsters can't make an Exceed summon, but they can be linked to IP Masquerena. And then we're going to discard to make Beatrice. So this particular board is going to be a little different, as you guys can see. We have Notoria Beast hypothetically going against a Sky Striker deck we're pretty much untouchable because their spell cards are going to be negated. We also have Beatrice the Eternal Lady that can send Dante to the graveyard, which is really important to send any of our cards to the graveyard. So let's say, for example, we could send our Farfa for an additional banishment, but what's even more important is that we'll gain the effect of our Dante to add the Seer. And here's where IP Masquerade can come in really clutch. I can use its effects to link with the Saryuja Scoldred to make a Nightmare Unicorn, which will provide us even more disruption. We can go ahead and discard the Seer, get rid of our opponent's card, and then trigger the effect of Seer to summon Dante to our side of the field, meaning we'll have game, or pretty close to game, on our very following turn. Or we can go ahead and send all of those cards to the graveyard. We get to keep this. And instead of summoning the Unicorn, we get the Super Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax. On our following turn, we can normal summon the Seer. Seer would get destroyed. Special summon the Dante. We'd have an additional monster to work with. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the TheCaliEffect. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a like. And if you really did, consider joining our Patreon. We have so many awesome rewards. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. But most of all, enjoy. I hope you guys are having a great day like I am.